camera. Over to you, Michal. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Fiona. Right, let me just get the presentation up as well and share my screen. And if you could just let me know if you can see my screen or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. All good.
Perfect. Good. So, welcome to the session. So, in terms of today's call, we'll be going over the new bank reconciliation feature in NetSuite, which keeps on developing with every update the past couple of years. So in terms of today's session, there are a few things I would like to concentrate on in terms of the agenda. So we have the new reconciliation flow. So for those who have used the old feature where you can reconcile bank accounts on one page, compared to that feature, the new feature comes in 2 steps, which I'll go over as well. We also have bank statement importing and bank feeds, and reconciliation rules, which allow you to match bank statement data to transactions in NetSuite automatically. So just a little brief on bank reconciliations in NetSuite. So the old reconciliation method will be deprecated as of NetSuite 2021.1. So there will be no further updates to the feature. The new method is designed around bank feeds and automation. So you will see the new feature, once I do the demo, is really built around the bank statements. So you can compare the bank statements to what's in NetSuite and match them up together and then reconcile the account statements. The new method, as mentioned previously, comes in 2 steps. So the first step, you have to match the bank data with what's in NetSuite. And the second part of the reconciliation is the actual reconciliation, where you can select the matched transactions and reconcile them. So I would say in general, the new feature is much more advanced. And there are actually new features coming out as well, which help with bankrec, such as the automated cash application, which allows you to reconcile an account for customer payments directly from bank statements and bank feeds. So I do recommend this feature to be used with a bank feed, which I'll go over as well in the session. So if we swap to NetSuite. So in terms of the demo, what we'll start off with is the match bank data page. So under transactions bank, we have match bank data and reconcile account statement. So match bank data is the first step in the reconciliation. And once the transactions are matched, they move on to the reconcile account statement page and the account can be reconciled. Whereas previously, everything happened on the old feature under the reconcile bank statement page. And if I click on it, it's the standard old method. And when you go on it, you get the error message, or the warning message, I rather say, that it is deprecated as of 2021.1. So if we go to the new feature, the step 1 of the new feature, got the match bank data page. So you can see already that it does look a lot different. So we have a lot of new exciting things. And the first thing we need to do here is select an account, a bank account. So in this case, I'll be using a NatWest bank account that I've created specifically for this example. And when we select the bank account, it of course pre-fills the currency subsidiary. We don't have a bank balance just yet because this is the first reconciliation I'm doing on this bank account. And the balance as of is the date. So if I scroll down, we got two sides of the screen. So the right hand side is what we have accounted for in the account in NetSuite. And the left hand side is where the bank data and the statement data is being held. You can see here that it's currently empty. And that's because I don't have a bank feed set up in NetSuite. If I had a bank feed set up, this side of the screen, the imported bank data side, would automatically refresh on a daily basis with an up-to-date bank statement. However, also within the bank feed as well, it's not just daily, you can't actually update it manually with the update imported bank data button. However, for this example, what I will do is instead of having a bank feed, I'll show you that we can also import bank data using an Excel file. So before I start matching the data, what I'll do is import an example bank statement. Okay, so what I've done for this demo, I've created a very, very small bank statement in which we just have the dates, the transaction type, whether it's a debit or a credit, the amount, and the memo field. If we wanted to, we could actually add the NetSuite's customer ID, customer name, or invoice numbers for reference as well. And we could add the payer or the payee name as well to the file. And this is a standard template in NetSuite if you wanted to import bank statements. So in order to import the bank statement, you have to go through transactions, bank, banking, import history, and upload file, which takes us to the upload file page. We select the bank file. So we have the file selected. We select import with default parser. And if you wanted to download a fresh CSV template on this page, when you select the import with default parser, you do get an option to download the CSV template. So once you download this, it gives you a fresh template that you can fill out with bank data to be uploaded onto NetSuite. So we've got the file selected, import with default parser, and then we just select the relevant bank account. So now let's import the file. So you can see here we have a little green notification to say that the upload has been complete. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's been successful. So if we move on to the track your status page, or alternatively, if we go for transactions, bank, and bank import history, it takes you to the exact same page. It's basically a history of all of the bank statements that have been uploaded onto NetSuite. And we can see here that we have a complete line for the bankrec example file I did that was uploaded a minute ago. If we wanted to, we could delete the import. But in this case, it's all good and fine. So let's continue with the example. So now if we go back to the match bank data page, which is the first page, first step of the reconciliation process. And select the bank statement. You can see now we have the bank statement we imported on the left and the NetSuite transactions on the right. And in this example, what we have to do is check the transaction on the left, check the transaction on the right, and the selected transactions appear on the bottom of the page. And if the difference is 0, we can match them together. And once matched, they don't actually go through to the reconciliation page. They actually move on to the review tab on here. So whatever we match is moved to the review tab. So you can see here we got a matched transaction journal GE0062 for minus £100. If we click on matched, we can see the bank statement line that it's been matched to. Of course, you can't match one line to many if needed. And of course, we can undo the match as well if we wanted to. If we wanted the lines to return to the to be matched tab. Once we have the transactions matched together, we can submit them for reconciliation. Basically, any matched transactions under the review tab can be submitted. You will see once I submit it, it disappears from the list because it's been matched and confirmed that it is on the statement. And now you will be able to find it on the reconcile account statements page, which is the step 2 of the reconciliation process. So what I will do is match these together. Okay, so we see I've matched all of the lines together. Let's move on to the review tab. I can see that I have matched 4 lines in total. And then let's submit them for reconciliation. So if we go back to the to be matched page, we can see we've reconciled everything from the statement. There's no more transactions left to reconcile in NetSuite either. So now we can do the actual reconciliation part of the process. So under transactions bank, we got the reconcile account statement page. So we've done the first step, which is the match bank data, done the reconcile, and now we can do the reconcile account statement step. So this is where the actual reconciliation happens. So only transactions that have been matched on the previous page and have been submitted from the review tab appear on this page. If they haven't been matched and submitted, they basically would not appear on here. So with the reconcile account statement page, we select the account. It's got the currency GBP. We select the bank statement date. And then we just select all the relevant transactions that we need, that we want to reconcile. And of course, we enter the statement balance. And if the statement balance and the selected transactions don't have any differences, oh, I can see there's a 10p difference there. So let me just change the balance really quick. If there isn't any differences, we can reconcile the account statement. However, what I will do is before we reconcile this, I do want to show the extra features that come with the match bank data page. But this is the general flow of the reconciliation, of the new reconciliation method. So the first step is to match bank data and submit it for reconciliation, and then reconciling the bank account. So compared to the old feature, it is a lot different, because in the old feature, everything happened on one page, and you didn't have that match bank data step before you could reconcile an account statement. So just before, what I will do, I won't reconcile this account statement. I'll delete the bank statement and I'll show you how the reconciliation rules work, which basically allow you to match transactional data in NetSuite with what's been imported in a bank statement. So I'll just go to the review tab, got all of these matched. I'll undo the matches. And I'll delete the bank statement that I've imported and I'll re-import it, but with reconciliation rules turned on. So just looking at the match bank data page again. So back to the first step where we don't have a bank statement here, we have the reconciliation, we got the transactions. However, what we'll do this time is add reconciliation rules. So under Transactions Bank, we have the reconciliation rules tab, which basically allow you to match the transactions from the bank statement to the transactions in the NetSuite automatically. So you can see by default, we have 3 system rules, default reconciliation rules. So NetSuite will match on transaction number and amount any imported bank statement lines and transactions in NetSuite. We have match on amount and transaction number without prefixes or leading zeros. We got match on amount when date is within 90 previous days. And if we wanted to, we can add new reconciliation rules as well. So when we click new rule, we can add a name, select the bank account that it applies to, and the condition. So transaction types, we want all imported transaction types. And let's say we want the memo field to be equal to transaction types in NetSuite to memo. So if the memo on the imported bank statement is the same as the memo on NetSuite, or match the 2 transactions together. And we can also add additional matching rules as well, and other conditions. So if I turn all the default system rules on and import the bank statement again, what you will see this time is that all of the lines from NetSuite will disappear, as they would have been automatically matched to the imported bank statements because of these reconciliation rules. So if I go back to the match bank data page, select the NatWest bank account, you can see despite me importing the bank statement, there's nothing here because everything has been automatically matched already. So once everything's matched, once again, we have to submit the reviewed matched data and move on to the actual reconciliation part of the process, which is under reconcile account statement. So let's select the bank account again, the statement end date, let's say today. Let's select the balance. And we have all of the transactions selected that have been matched and reviewed. And now let's just reconcile the bank statement. It's in the reconcile button. And of course, you get the standard message that you're about to close the statement as of the 25th of November. All included transactions will be reconciled. Perfect. And that's it. So now you can see we've got a reconciled statement, and we have a NatWest bank account that has been reconciled here. These kind of reports, in terms of reconciled statements, transactions, can be found on the reconcile account statement page as well. So if we select the bank account, you can see on the right hand side we get a few options here. We can go back to match bank data page to match more transactions. We can go to the register, and we also have a reconciliation summary, history, and reconciled statements. So we've got all of the standard reconciliation reports here as well. So I would highly recommend using this new feature if you do have a bank feed set up in NetSuite, because what you could do on the match bank data page is have a bank feed that comes in on a daily basis, match the transactions, and keep the reconciliation up to date. In terms of the setup for the bank feeds, it's not very complicated. All it requires is basically you to log into your online banking and allow the live connection between NetSuite and your online banking, and that will automatically allow NetSuite to pull through the bank statements onto this page. Another thing to mention as well here is there's one more option that needs to be enabled to basically allow you to reconcile bank statements using the new feature. So what you can't do is use the old feature and the new feature at the same time. So basically, if we look at setup accounting, the chart of accounts, and then if we scroll down to the bank statement, to the bank account, and we edit one of the bank accounts, there is a new option here, which basically dictates whether you use the old feature for bank reconciliations or the new feature. So if we scroll down, we have this use match bank data and reconcile account statement pages. If this feature is turned on, you can use the new feature, which involves important bank statements, matching them and reconciling them. If it's unchecked, then it only allows you to use the reconcile bank statement feature, which is the old method of reconciliation. So let me just, so that's the setup of it in general. In terms of the banks that can be connected to NetSuite. So previously, I believe it was in the last release, bank feeds were only available for US customers, for US NetSuite customers. So basically, bank feeds weren't available in Europe. However, now they have developed new ways of connecting bank feeds, which allowed them to basically connect NetSuite to pretty much any bank there is, which allowed the feature to come out in Europe as well. So yes, I think in terms of the demo, that's pretty much it. So I think if we move on to any questions.
Yes, please. I have questions. One of our bank accounts, there's no way I'm going to be able to export. They just don't allow it, one of our European bank accounts. I won't be able to get an export. How will I then continue to reconcile that one? And how do I export and reconcile factoring accounts? Because their statements are very different.
Yeah, sure thing. So that's a very, very good question. And it's something that I actually forgot to mention. So if I just come back to my demo account, on the match bank data page, if we select a bank account, actually, let me just select my other bank account. It should have more transactions in. If, let's say, you don't have a bank statement or a bank feed set up in NetSuite, you can't actually not match the transactions, but move them to the review tab without matching. You can clear the transactions on the NetSuite side. So let's say if we select this transaction here, what we have here at the bottom of the page is the clear account transaction without matching option. So despite not having anything, a bank statement line to match the transaction to, we can still clear the transaction, which moves the transactions to the review tab without matching. And then as usual, you can submit it and then reconcile. So if you do want to use the feature and not use bank statement importing or bank feeds, you can go around doing it that way.
Thank you, Michal.
Any other questions?
Oh, David, I think you're on mute there. Sorry, I can just see you trying to talk.
Sorry, clumsy fingers. I hit the wrong button. Is it possible for you to pause and go back into the reconciliation as you can do with the current system?
So go back to the old reconciliations. You can go back, yes. However, the only issue is, let me show you here as well. Because I have already reconciled the bank statement as of the 25th of November, if I wanted to adjust it or do something differently, I would actually need to delete this reconciliation and reconcile it again.
Right, okay.
And the only issue here is as well, you can't, if there are multiple reconciliations in the way, you will have to delete all of them one by one until you actually get to the date you want to get to. So if I delete this and go back to the reconcile account statement page, we got all of these not reconciled again.
Right, okay, lovely, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, sorry, Michal. I know you were saying earlier you can't match like multiple items to one item in there. If I did a batch payment for my vendors out of the bank, it would show as one line payment coming out of the bank, but my NetSuite transactions would be, say, 20 vendors that I've paid. Can you match that?
Yes, so you can match one bank statement line to many many NetSuite transactions. So you can't have the one-to-many matching.
Okay,
method.
thank you.
That's a great question. Lovely. Okay, thanks, Heidi. Has anybody else got any other questions while we're here? Now's the time to pick Michal's brains while we're all together.
Michal, could I ask you
just
a question?
one more, sir.
Oh, go on, you go first. You go first.
Thanks, Neil. I was just a bit of an unfair question because I know it's very new, but do you know if it works on Lloyds Bank Commercial Online? Because as I'm sure, I don't really have experience with other bank accounts, but I'm sure they're very similar with their security requirements, but it's like getting to Fort Knox on Commercial Online.
Yeah, so there is a website that's provided by NetSuite to see if your online banking is compatible with the feature. And if you give me a quick second, what I'll do is basically try and find that page for you.
Great. Do you want to share that? I can share that with the follow-up email to this if you want, Michal, if you want to send that to me.
Oh, yes.
That's a great
Absolutely.
idea. Good question.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really useful. Yeah, good stuff. And there was sorry, I didn't see who else. Was it Neil asking?
Yeah, it was me. Yes, that's right. It's a question not about this topic, if that's okay. So I've been trying to do a EFT supplier payment file uplifts into HSBC Bank. So my NetSuite guy has shown me how to do text files and XML files, but the HSBC keep rejecting the files. Would there be a webinar on this so I could join that to get some more information on it, or is this something I could pick up with you guys after the call at some point, not necessarily today, but in the near future?
Yes, of course. So in terms of the bank rejecting the file, does it not upload at all, or?
So I've spoken to the bank and they told me how to get it uploaded, which sections to choose. So I've done what the bank's asked and it's still rejecting the file. And my NetSuite guy is a bit perplexed as to why it's not working. So I was hoping you might have more knowledge.
Yes, and what's the bank? What's the payment format? Is it BACS by any chance?
Yes.
What I would recommend is checking if the EFT file format is Baxtel IP.
Okay.
Because I know, in fact, that I've tried. There are standard BACS formats in NetSuite, but I've never had any issues with Baxtel IP.
Okay.
Format. And I would highly recommend trying that format and seeing if it uploads to online banking.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thanks ever so much for your help. Appreciate that.
No worries.
Okay, so are there any other questions while we're all together? Equally, a bit like Neil, sort of any NetSuite general question, obviously not to put Michal on the spot, bless him, but if you've got any questions, now's the time to, or to ask each other, while we're all together. I appreciate no one else has put their cameras back on and there's no pressure to, but if you have any questions, want to ask any of your fellow NetSuite users, now is the chance to take that opportunity. No, we're all good then. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you to Michal for that great demo, and we'll as we've recorded the session, so we'll be sending that round to everybody and those that couldn't make it today for the session. Our next customer roundtable will be probably sort of back end of January, early February, depending on availability. So we'll keep you posted on that. If there's any particular topics, so the way this works is we really try to incorporate topics that are being asked, questions that are being asked of our consultants on a regular basis. Obviously, this one was obviously such a hot topic with such a new feature, a new way of doing things within NetSuite. If now that you've been to a round table and you obviously some of you are new in your roles and things, if you have any particular questions or topics you'd like to explore in more detail, please just drop me an email with some suggestions, and we'll put them into the mix and we'll see what we can come up with. We do have a bit of a short list ourselves, but we always prefer to sort of actually give our customers the topic they actually want to see. So yeah, if anything springs to mind, please get in touch, and we'll see what we can do. So so we're coming up for just about an hour, which is great. So you've all got some time back. So I think we were scheduled till 11:30, so that's worked out quite nicely. So thanks again for joining us. And yeah, if you have any questions or feedback, then please let us know.
Just a quick note, Fiona, as well. If I just quickly share my screen.
Yeah.
Just to the previous question as well. This is the website. This is the link to the website we'll attach to the follow-up email. And basically, Salt Edge is the company responsible for the bank feed into NetSuite. And all you have to do on this page is type in your country or the bank name and see whether it's compatible with the bank feeds. So I think before it was Lloyd's, so we've got Lloyd's Bank Commercial Business and Lloyd's Bank.
That's great, Michal. That's lovely. Okay, yeah, send that across to me, and I'll make sure we share that with everybody. That's lovely.
Yeah, sure thing.
Good stuff. Right, well, have a great Thursday, everybody, and we will speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.